Ooh. Ooh. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Radio Resto. So the sun is shining down. It's going to be a great weekend because basically everything that you see here needs to go in there. We're going to try over this weekend to see if we can get that engine running, and that means everything here needs to go in there in order to kind of make it work. Now I think it's been a long couple of weeks trying to source all the parts that I need. Some things may fit, some things may not. We're going to have to improvise where we can't get it to fit. But I'm hoping I've got everything that we need to do this now. So let's see. Like I said, we've only cranked the engine by hand. We don't know whether it will crank under its own power. I don't know if some of these things work, like the old distributor or the coil. I don't know. They were in here. They should have been working, but we're gonna find out. So join me. Stay tuned. My dad's gonna be over this tomorrow to try and help me out, do some bits. But I'm gonna try and get through what I can today. But yeah. Let's see what we can do. So the first thing we're going to do is get the carb on the car. So removing that cardboard there, 4 nuts off it, take the cardboard up. It's going to give us an opportunity to look at inside of it, because I've never even taken it off to look at what it looks like inside. So hopefully, I'm hoping it looks good and there's nothing crazy that we're going to find underneath that. But yeah, it should be okay, should be all right. So what you're going to do, this is the carb I have bought, which is an Edelbrock 1405. It's a 600 CFM capacity on it, so that should be more than plenty for what we're trying to do here. I did have to straighten this link out as well. It was a little bit bent, same with this little screw here, and then get that to line up there. Sorry for the focus. Just get these to line up okay, because it was a little bit bent. I don't know whether that was done in delivery or not, but you know, it's okay. It looks all in all in great condition for the age. What we're going to do is I'm going to put this on the car, and if we have any issues or it doesn't seem to work okay, I will rebuild this potentially in another video separately for this one. But it looks in pretty good condition, so I think it should be okay. It should actually run, but we'll find out as we go in. So what you also need is you need a gasket for it. So the gasket goes on the inlet manifold, and then the carb goes on top like that. So yeah, as you can see, not difficult, literally 4 nuts, and we should be able to put that on. So let's get stuck into that. Okay, so looking at the carb, the Edelbrock logo faces the front of the car, and that is how it goes on to the engine. So then you drop that down into place like that, and then we just put the nuts back on, and that's probably the easiest job we're going to do today. Done. Okay, so these only need to be pretty much hand tight, not very much over, so do it in a crisscross pattern. So what I'm going to do is tighten that down just a little bit so it bites on each side, like that. Okay, I'm just going to give it one flick of the wrist until it's sort of tight. Okay. Okay, I'm happy with that. I mean, that's pretty good. It's stable in there, and you know, that's not over tightened. So the reason I did the carburetor first was I was after this guy. So this is the fuel inlet for the carb. This is where it takes fuel and fills the float bulbs. Sorry, I've covered it up again just to try and keep some dust out of there while I'm doing other bits to the car. This will then help me decide how I can run the cable, the fuel line, sorry, you know, what the best route is to take it to get back, and then back to the fuel pump and then the fuel tank. These copper lines here would have been the original fuel lines for the car. Now the Zodiac originally would have had a mechanical fuel pump. It was actually part of the engine and driven by the engine, and that would have taken fuel and then pumped it using mechanical force. I think it had like a lever that connects into, I think it's a crankshaft, and that's then driven and then puts fuel or drives the fuel into the carb from there. Now it has two lines. One is a return, the other one would have been the feed for the fuel as well. So the good news is we do have a return line back into the tank as well. Now this will be really good for vapor lock, or to combat vapor lock rather. So if I can show you here, excuse my drawing, but this is the diagram I've made of how it's going to kind of look for our application. Now this is the carb here, which is that fella over there, and if I turn it this way, that'll be what we're facing here, and that will be the feed from the inlet. I'm going to put an inline fuel filter here. Now I bought a fuel filter that actually has a nozzle for vapor lock, and that will then have a return, utilizing that return line back to the fuel tank itself. And then the other line which we've got there that currently exists is from the tank, goes to the pump. I've got a regulator in there as well because I don't know anything about this pump. I don't know how much that pump will put out, so we need to cap it at about 5 to 5.5 psi. So the regulator will do that for me, and then what we'll do is then we'll feed it up to the filter and then into the carb from there. So not too complex. I'm hoping that I have enough cable to do this. If not, I will have to get some more sort of pipe, for the return line, but I think we should have enough. We might have enough. So let's just see what we can do. If not, I will probably reuse the existing copper line perhaps that goes to the return, because if that's okay, it's just putting vapor and a slight amount of fuel back into the tank itself, where the pump, and there should be like a pickup filter in there that should pick it up. So we should be okay. So this is, I'm hopefully, if everything goes to plan, this is how it's going to work. So let's crack on with the fuel lines. So I want everything to look nice and sexy with these red and blue valves on here. These are AN6 valves. So what I need to do is I need to change the original inlet, which was on the carb there, for this one here. And what that does is that just screws into this fitting here, so everything just seals up nicely and looks clean, but it will just literally screw together. It's got like different bends, so I can change different angles depending on what I want to do and how I'm going to route it as well. So that really helps me be a little bit more versatile in the application that we're going to do. So I quite like to sort of go around the carb that way and then down, but let's just have a look and see, because there is going to be a heater core that goes there, and that's actually the heater fan for the blower, that goes into the heater for the car. So I just need to make sure that this clears that and doesn't sort of like interfere with what's happening there. If I go too close to the firewall, I may not have access to that as well. So let's have a look and see what we can do. But these fittings are really useful. They're not too expensive either, and it comes as a whole kit with the pipes and so on, like the actual fuel line, a braided fuel line as well. So everything comes as a kit with multiple different kind of fittings there. So this is the only thing I had to buy in addition, because the kit doesn't come with that, because obviously the fitting for your carburetor might be different to what each one, so you're gonna have to get the right end for your application. But yeah, what I'm gonna do is put a little bit of this PFTE tape on there. So this is suitable for fuel lines, so just a little bit on the threads that go into the actual carb itself, just to give it an extra seal on there with the washer that was in there already. So we're going to pair all that up. I'm going to get that on, and then we'll have a look and see what it looks like. Okay, so just some tape around the threads itself, just making sure that that's open on that side as well. Don't sort of cover that up. But yeah, just a little bit of on there, just one wrap around should be okay. A slight overlap is okay as well. That's all that you need, just to kind of sit on the threads to seal it up. Okay, and that's on there like that. So again, you don't want to be too forceful with this, so just obviously snug enough that it just sits in there quite, like, relatively tight, but don't over tighten it. Now remember, these are not this is aluminium, I think, on here anyway, and these as well are aluminium, so that will strip and it will bend. So just be very mindful of how much force you put on to tighten it. But once it stops, that's fine. Just a slight little snug up from there, and you leave it at that. It should be fine. Obviously, when you got fuel running through it, and if you see any leaks, then obviously give it a little bit of a tighten, but don't over tighten it from straight out the gate. Cool. So now let's have a look at I'm going to put the AN6 fitting on it now. I'm going to use this one, the 90 degree on it first, and then I'm going to just have a look and see how we can get the pipe down there and where's the best place to put the fuel filter, because obviously we'll need to change that as part of a service as well, so we want to have it accessible enough to do that. So I've offered up the old heater blower in there just to kind of see what I need to clear and how the best way to get to the fuel lines is. As you can see, it is a little bit tight in there, to be honest. There's not a lot of room around it to go in there, and obviously with that being a blower, electrical and so on, I don't know if I want fuel sort of so close to that. With that being said, I think I might put the fuel filter somewhere along here, and then down, and sort of follow those copper lines back again, because what I can actually use is I could potentially use the brackets that sort of hold that fuel line in place to hold a new fuel line in there. Now the new fuel line is going to be thicker, a lot thicker than that, but I might be able to just use those brackets to kind of hold the line in place. So yeah, let's see what the best place to put this is. I think definitely the 90-degree bend on there is going to be the one, I think, and then come around this way and then route the fuel line down there and then to the back of the car. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to measure up the fuel line just to make sure I've got enough to count for everything that I need here. I think it came with 10 feet, so it should be enough, but let's just have a look and see what I can do. So the verdict, definitely not enough tubing or fuel line to kind of get from all the way from here with a good run back to the fuel pump. So I didn't want to use the original lines because I don't know what's in them. Now I know there's a little bit of fuel in the fuel tank. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to reuse these old copper lines. I'm going to put the new braided cable and replace the new braiding wherever else there is old line, just so I know everything seals up okay. The copper itself looks to be fairly good, but what I'm going to do now is I need to clean out that line before I put anything in there, because I don't know what may have made its way down that sort of little hole there, which is the scary part. I've moved all the power cables and so on out of the way as best as I could see, but I'm gonna have to put the battery on and see if the fuel pump will sort of push some fuel out and just give me enough to kind of clean out the line, just to push a little bit of fuel out of there and clean the line itself. So wish me luck. I don't know if I'm gonna get electrocuted here, but or something's gonna catch fire. We're gonna find out. So let me just get the battery and brace yourselves, guys. Okay, the battery is connected, so here goes nothing. Ooh, we're getting sparks. We're getting sparks, so that's a good sign. I actually don't know if the engine is actually grounded. Let's find out. Ooh. Okay, so it looks like the engine is actually grounded as well. Right, so let me put this out of the way so I do not get electrocuted from the body. And okay, let's go turn the key. So yeah, I turned the key. I tried a few switches inside of the car. Nothing seems to be happening at all. I'm not sure. I think I don't know whether that fuel pump is actually even connected up in there. It did make a slight sound and then stopped, so I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if the ignition barrel's even working or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under the car, take it a small battery that I have, and just see if I can jump that pump to just get it to fire, and then just see if I can just get some fuel out of the line, and then we can sort of wire the cable up and then have a look for any leaks and so on from there. I'm gonna have to sort of do it that way, so it might be a little bit difficult for me to film under the car, but I'll give it a go, see what I can show you, and yeah, let's just see if we can get that. Let's check if the pump even works. All right, everyone, welcome to the back of the Zodiac, and No way in hell are we reusing that fuel line. Look at the state of that. Absolutely not. So that's going to need to be replaced all the way back to there, which is not a problem. So we're going to use some of the braided cable to do that. Braided pipe to do that. And then over there, as you can see, that is where your it connects to the copper line that goes into the front of the car, and then up there, that one goes into your return, which sort of feeds back down to there and drops the fuel back into the tank itself. So it looks like we've got some cabling to it. So it has been wired up, but it isn't doing anything. I can't hear anything firing. So I'm gonna grab a multimeter. I'm gonna turn the key again and just see if we are getting 12 volts to the pump itself. Weirdly, it's using a red to ground, and it's got a black. That seems to be the live into the body. So I'm going to actually have a look and see if I can find that cable in the boot and see where that goes to actually, and we can see if we can figure that one out. Weirdly, there looks to be some kind of garden hose that goes into the body and disappears. So we're also going to find out what that is for and what it does. But yeah, let's go lift some carpets and have a look, and we'll grab the multimeter, see what we can find out. Okay, so in the boot, so it looks like the little bit of garden hose that they've used here is to vent the actual tank itself. So that's just a ventilation for the fuel tank, which is okay. I mean, that's not too bad. It's just vapor really coming out of there. So we'll leave that as is. This looks to be like the fella that we've got here, and it then sort of splits into that and goes off somewhere else under the carpeting here, which I'll need to trace, but I think that's going to be for let's have a look. Okay, so that goes into the top there. Okay, interesting. So I wonder if that grounds the tank itself. Not too sure. I don't know if that's got another sort of fuel sender. It could well be for the fuel. Yeah, it might actually be to tell you the fuel level actually. So I think that might actually tell you what the fuel level is, and that one there is the actual power for the pump itself. So okay, let's see what we can find out. Okay, so I've just had to prop you guys up here slightly just to free up my hands. But as you can see, this is a mower battery I've got here. I'm going to use that as a ground, and then this is a positive. And then if I touch this, you'll be able to hear that the fuel pump is actually firing. Or not. Okay. Alright, so fuel pump is good. I can smell fuel for sure. And if I have a look here, we can see fuel has come out of there. So I think that's good. That shows me the line is pretty good. Let's have a look under the car to see if anything has fallen down or dripped. Nothing so far. I'm going to have a check from the other angle. And yeah, let me have a good look at it, just see if anything else is leaking. And I think we're okay. I think we just need to find how the electrics of the car potentially are not connected up properly. So we'll have a look at that later on, but it seems like the pump is good. Fuel lines are good as well from the looks of things. So we're almost in business. We can start braiding up the cables in the engine bay and routing them back to the back. So I've traced all the fuel lines. Everything seems to be okay. There's no really strong smell of fuel towards the back of the car, which suggests nothing is leaking. I can't see any leaks. But now the problem is I don't know whether fully, because the way the lines sort of turn underneath the car and it's been taped together, I don't know which one is actually sending the fuel out of the two copper lines. So you guys are going to be my eyes. I'm going to go to the back and activate the pump, and we can see which one it actually comes out of. So hopefully you guys were able to see that, but it looks like the shorter of the two copper pipes is the one that's actually sending the fuel to the engine bay, as you can see by the little splash that it let out there. I didn't account for the fact that there was very little fuel in the tank. I didn't know actually how much was in there. Thankfully we had enough just to identify that, because I think we threw out most of it on the first test itself. The car's also not level because the back is jacked up on the one side as well, which doesn't help the matter. But we now know which one is which, so let's get the cable, the braided cable, connected from the carb to that pipe, because now it sort of flushed some fuel through. It would have cleared out anything that would have been stuck in the line itself, or any dirt that was in there. It's now probably on the floor, so that's okay with me. So let's do that, and then we'll work our way to the back, to the tank, and replace all those cracked cable piping that's in there at the back. Okay, so that's the back end done. So from the tank to the pump, and then from the pump to the pressure gauge, and then to the return back to the front of the car. Honestly, braided cable looks really nice, but honestly is an absolute pain to work with. Just to cut it, the amount of pokes and little holes with blood that I have on my hand, just because it just frays, and it's really hard to work with, to be honest. So obviously I committed. I wanted to look at the braided cable, but you know, if you guys, for the ease of it, recommend going for the rubber, if you don't want the drama of the braided cable. But you know, I like how it looks, to be honest. I do like how it looks. Yeah, kind of worth the blood, but hey, the front end one is really hard. I need to get a cable cutter for it in order to kind of like get it into the AN6 valve. So for now I've ordered one. I'll have to wait till that comes tomorrow just to kind of do the front end carb side. But for the rest of it now, this is it in. I've made the pressure gauge, so it's already set to 5.5, and I've just made it so I can just sort of turn it away like that. So it's just facing upwards, and if I ever need to do it, then I can adjust it. One thing to note, you do have in and out on the actual pressure gauge, so make sure when you're fitting it that you fit it the right way around. Just for the ease of it, you don't want to reverse that at all. So yeah, just make sure it's good, set it, and then you can just put it into place like I have here. I'm just going to give that top one a little bit more of a tighten, because it seems to be spinning around a little bit. But that's it really. Yeah, once you've all got it in, then we just move to the front. So you might also notice that I haven't done the return pipe yet. That hose is actually seems to be okay. It's in fairly good condition. I'm only leaving that to last because obviously I don't know how much braided cable I will have left for it. So the return might end up being just a normal black for now until I get some more. But ultimately, yeah, I'm just going to leave this one because it's in okay condition for the time being. Obviously, we will address that again later on. So the fuel filter's in. So that's from the pump to the engine bay, up into the filter, and then obviously I've made a little bracket now that will connect up to the heater blower, and then that just holds the filter in place. And then we got to do the smaller outlet there is the return, so that will have to come down and back to that one, and then from here will come all the way to the carb just there. So that pipe now will go around the firewall and then through there. So it's still going to be okay, but I might not use the 90 degree now. I might use the sort of like an angled, I think it's a 45 degree I've got there. So it sort of goes backwards to the firewall and along, and then to that cable there, sorry, to the filter there. So yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for the cable cutter to come now so I can get a neat cut in order to get the AN6 valve onto the actual braided cable, because that was being an absolute bitch to get onto. Just yeah, it kept stabbing me. I just couldn't get that to turn on there. So yeah, I just quick Google says maybe a cable cutter might cut it neatly enough to do that. So I'll give it a shot tomorrow. If not, the other valve goes back on here and we don't use the AN6 and we end up using that original outlet there, which I don't like because I wanted it to look kind of nice with the AN6 valve. But let's see what we can do to get it running. Alright everyone, so about to call it a day now, and yeah, good result. So we've got everything in there now. I've done the cables, which is a throttle cable itself. So now when we push the throttle, the spring sort of pulls it back in again. I've also done the choke as well on this side. So if I take this one off from there, and then the choke cable's connected in there, I got to do it from inside the car. I do need to get a little sort of trunnion for it on the one side there, just to kind of hold it in place. But for now it is actually working as it is. It actually is gripping it enough to pull it back and forth. So yeah, so we've got choke working, we've got throttle working now. The pedal isn't connected because this needs to connect down to there, but it's a little bit long, so I'm going to need to try and shorten it. But also my accelerator pedal is missing a spring on the inside, so it actually doesn't even pull itself back up again, so it's a little bit pointless at the moment. So for the sake of trying to start the car, we will just use the throttle on the actual carb itself. Now that the springs are in, we can at least do that a little bit. But you know, let's see how we go. Fuel has to work first. We got to get the pump working in order to even try and start it, and even connect to the starter and everything else. So tomorrow we'll tackle some electrics and the plumbing as well, and we'll see if we can get this thing to go. Maybe not, but you know, wish us luck.